Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talkin Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. It's coming off a smashing weekend and a lot more to look forward to as we ramp up towards the new year, which won't be too far away, quite frankly. But let's start off today's episode with a story on one of our favorite fighters here on Talkin Fight, Florian Marku, the Albanian king, who defeated Dylan Moran on the undercard in only 54 seconds of his fight. The Albanian superstar demolished a seriously skilled and experienced opponent in Dylan Moran within 1 minute. That's despite the fight being a hotly anticipated matchup, with many expecting a 50-50 battle between the pair. And when we say many, I doubt many Albanians were expecting a 50-50 battle. I'm sure they were expecting Florian Marku to absolutely clobber Moran. It's interesting, though, because there was a couple comments post-fight. Marku said, "I've been working so hard for this fight, for my comeback. I want big fights. People keep avoiding me. It was a frustrating year. I respect Dylan Moran, but I'm on a different level. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Give me a proper fight, and you'll see what we can do," which allowed promoter Ben Shalom of Boxer, Double X, told the reporters there that Marku had now overcome all his injury problems. "I've worked with Florian a long time. He's always been held back by injuries. Having had this year out of the ring, he's now fit. So he's a dangerous animal. He's a big star, and we've got real talent on our hands." So it's interesting to note on that undercard, by the way, was a name I think we should look out for. His name is Frankie Stringer, and he won a points victory in his 6th professional fight. But most importantly, he's managed by Liam Smith and trains in the same gym, by the way, as the main event. Anyway, so there we go. Some interesting news on that full card. By the way, Chris Eubank Jr., as you all know, won his bout with Liam Smith. Adam Azim won his fight. Fraser Clark, unbelievably, we'll get into that in a second, won his fight. Jack Collin, we'll get into his fight in a second as well. Michaela Mayer, as I predicted on Friday night, won. Florian Marku, I just told you, technical knockout, round 1, 54 seconds. Lauren Price beat Lolita Mizuya. And as I said, Frankie Stringer beat Angel Gomez. So let's have a quick look at some of the highlights. Michaela Mayer looked certainly impressive. She took a flawless 10-round victory in her first fight at 140 pounds, I might add. Her rugged opponent was Silvia Berto, and the Italian was happy to trade blows right to the very end. Again, they're now looking... Michaela Mayer's camp, that is now looking to get back into world championship contention at her new weight class with boxers Natasha Jonas, world champ at 147 pounds. She's not the only one after Jonas, I might add. Which brings us to Lauren Price, who, as I said earlier, beat Lolita Mizuya, the Tokyo 2020 Olympic gold medalist and inaugural professional women's boxing champion. Lauren Price won every round in her shortened fight with Lolita Mizuya. After scoring a knockdown in the 5th, the referee had to call for the fight to go to scorecards early due to the accidental clash of heads, rendering Mizuya unable to continue. After the fight, Lauren Price said to the media, "It was good to get back in there. I want to be busy. It was my 5th professional fight against someone with an 18-1 record with 10 knockouts." And she headlined against Savannah Marshall 2 fights ago. So Natasha Jonas, she's got the belt, she said. "I respect her, but I want to be chasing world titles. We're both British, and it'd be an honor to share the ring with her." So Lauren Price and Michaela Mayer both going after Natasha Jonas. Speaking of British boxers, Fraser Clark, let's call this the odd story of Fraser Clark. Okay. The 2020 Olympic medalist did the job in the end, but not after being deducted points for persistent low blows. He was pitted against a very experienced opponent in Devon, and Clark had to get his hands dirty. The fight was an ugly heavyweight bout with both men showing power in both hands. It was excruciating to watch for the 18 minutes it lasted. Both men were willing to take a few hits, give a few back, creating a mixture of blows landing and messiness from the first round. Clark dominated most exchanges through his cannon-like jab and superior size and reach. However, Allen remained stubbornly frustrated and hungry to stretch the fight to the later rounds when Clark might have tired. Allen also spoke to Clark in the ring, which clearly affected the bigger man. However, Allen retired from the fight due to damage inflicted on him by Clark, most notably to his jaw. There were also reports of a perforated eardrum in the aftermath. Basically, it means Frazier can continue his rise through the British heavyweight ranks, despite having words with Allen after the final bell. Said Clark afterwards, not vintage again from me, but if you're going to learn on the job, let me tell you, Dave Allen is the man to do it with. Fair enough. In other news on that particular undercard, I see that Jack Cullen has beaten Mark Heffron to win the British and Commonwealth belts that were at stake. Facing Mark Heffron, Jack Cullen, who, by the way, was expected to lose. He was the underdog, against the experienced, formidable opponent in Heffron. But Cullen came out on top. The first 2 rounds of the fight were relatively cagey. Heffron was keen to push forward, but Cullen used his height advantage effectively. Heffron did find some openings and to land some shots to the body in the second and third rounds. However, Cullen also landed well in that time, including a clubbing right hand at the end of the second round that hurt Heffron. As the end of the third round approached, Cullen landed a lightning-fast left hook that sent Heffron tumbling to the canvas. Despite Heffron instantly rising back to his feet, the referee had no choice but to end the fight and crown a new champion. So Jack Cullen had this to say: "It's unreal. Just as a kid watching boxing with my dad, who I'd fight for. We're not just watching it; we won it. Me and Mark know each other. We went to the same gym. He had the title we wanted, though. If I didn't get those losses, it would be I wouldn't be here fighting for this. Boxing is my life. I put everything into this fight. A rematch between the pair wouldn't be out of the question, as Cullen contemplates the first defense, and Heffron looks to come again." So interesting, as a side note to all of this, some words from Liam Smith in the aftermath of his loss or learning experience to Chris Eubank Jr. He revealed that he was weak and flat in the 10th round in his TKO loss to Eubank, because he lost literally 42 pounds, cut during camp, and an ankle injury sustained during the contest, apparently. He stated afterward that he felt like his mobility was also hampered because of that left ankle problem. The 35-year-old, probably at the end of the line, 33-4-1, 20 knockout, looked like a shell of the fighter he'd been in that first fight with Eubank Jr., who's now 33-3, 24 knockouts. But he was unable to pull the trigger on his punches and incapable of fighting through the clinching that was being done to keep him bottled up. Smith says he suffered a back injury, that he couldn't train before camp, and put on weight that he'd taken off while getting ready for the rematch rapidly. Dealing with the injury in camp while trying to take off the 42 pounds made Smith's job that much harder, putting him in a near impossible situation to try and win. He said, "I feel the weight killed me. I cut 42 pounds, and not a lot of people thought he could get in there and dominate the way he dominated from the opening bell," said Spencer Oliver, writing for Boxing King Media about Chris Eubank Jr. But that was a superb performance, he said. He had demons going to this one. You know how conclusive the fight was. That was a career best performance. Chris deserves a world title shot on the back of that. Let's move on to other fights in the clash between Scottish fan favorites. 40-year-old former 3-division world champ Ricky Burns, 45-8-1, battered 44-year-old game Willie Lemond, who's 42-6, for 8 rounds in a welterweight bout that was held on Friday night at the Braehead Arena in Glasgow. Lemond remained on his stool after round 8, however, allowing, as I said, Ricky Burns to gain that victory. Elsewhere, light heavyweight Lyndon King Arthur, 25-1, scored a spectacular 10th round knockout over Brian Suarez, 18-2, also on Friday night. And that was a clash for the IBO title at the University of Bolton Stadium in Bolton, England. Suarez, who missed weight, dropped Arthur in round 4 and basically outmuscled and outworked him until Arthur connected with a left hook to the body in round 10 that sent Suarez to the canvas for the count. And elsewhere, in a women's bantamweight unification that we mentioned on the Friday night panel, WBO champ Dina Thorslund, now 20-0, undefeated, 8 knockouts, took a 10-round unanimous decision over WBC bantamweight champ Johan Avila, 25-4-1. That was held in Denmark on Friday night as well. Scores were 99, 91, 98, 92, 97, 93. And speaking of women in the ring, it looks like Australian super flyweight champ Holly McMath is going to enter the ring. Her next opponent looking to be for a fight held in October. It's going to be Holly McMath. It's going to fight in Sydney, South Wales, Australia. Be taking on, there it is, Mai Soliman. That's for the vacant NASA Australasian super flyweight title, 20th of October. That's what I was looking for, the date. There we are. As I said, also on that, by the way, on that undercard of Dina Thorslund victory, we also had Brooke Eaton fighting Esther Kanicha. So there you go. That was a super middleweight title. I don't think it's a title though. But speaking of titles, ranked fighters who are scheduled to fight over the next upcoming weeks, I think I'd point this out. I think you guys deserve a quick little listen as to who's coming up, other than Zhela Zhang and Joe Joyce, the heavyweights. They're going head-to-head September 23rd. In the super middleweight division, you've got Christian Mabili taking on Desmond Nicholson on September 8th. In the middleweight division, you got Austin Williams, ranked number 10, by the way, taking on Steve Rolls on September 23rd. In the lightweight division, William Zepeda going to take on Marquito Gasta. In junior lightweight division, Robson Cancheco taking on Humberto Gilanda. In the featherweight division, Luis Lopez taking on Joad Gonzalez. In the featherweight division, Ruben Villa taking on Brandon Valdez. Junior bantamweight division, Junto Nakatani is going to take on Argi Cortez. Flyweight division, Hiroto Kayaguchi going to take on Jervan Myrna. Junior flyweight division, Kenshiro Taraji taking on Hekai Bundler in September 18th. So a whack of fights going on in September. And let's not forget about an expected battle between Yokasta Vale and an opponent to be announced that's taking place on September 16th. And Yokasta Vale, one of our favorites here on Talkin Fight, without a doubt. To round out today's headlines, I got to say, a very sad story. How stupid can you be? Subtitle this one. Chris Eubank Jr.'s trainer, Brian McIntyre, also known as BoMac, has been charged with possession of a firearm and possession of ammunition for a firearm without a certificate. Those charges being laid by the Greater Manchester Police after he was arrested at the Manchester airport following the fight between Liam Smith and his young protege, Chris Eubank Jr. McIntyre attended then the Stockport Magistrates Court on Monday morning and was remanded in custody, so he's still in jail pending an appearance at Manchester Crown Court next month. At around 10:45 a.m. on Sunday morning, a good 12 hours, I guess, after the fight, officers were called to reports of a possible firearm being found in the hold luggage by airport staff. After initial inspection by security staff, GMP officers attended, and the firearm was seized. Subsequently, a 53-year-old man was arrested for possession of a firearm and was taken into custody for further questioning. That person being Brian McIntyre from the United States of America, who was charged with possession of a firearm, as I said, and possession of ammunition for a firearm without a certificate. So, really disappointing news for the boxing world, and how stupid can you be? Because keep in mind, he was also the trainer who had worked with undisputed welterweight world champ Terence Crawford. Disappointing indeed. Well, thanks once again for joining me. Appreciate it very much. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you later on at 4 p.m. when I join Mike Orr at 4 for his show, Knuckle Up.